America is at a breaking point with record levels of illegal immigration.
A group of congressional Republicans visiting the southern border today to put pressure on the White House as the administration tries to respond to a surge of migrants. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. That border visit by GOP lawmakers today comes as the federal government prepares to resume full operations at 4 border crossings. One of them is in Lukeville, Arizona. It's been closed now to vehicle traffic for weeks. That's allowed border agents to focus their attention on processing asylum applications. Fox 10's Brian Webb reports tonight that the crossing will reopen tomorrow morning because the White House says the number of migrants arriving every day is beginning to decrease.
The beach town was on its way to attracting 2 million people last year, according to the Visitors Bureau, most of them coming from Arizona. That was until the crossing at Lukeville closed. It is set to reopen at 6 a.m. tomorrow, but it may be a few more months before things get back to normal. Puerto Penasco, often called Arizona's beach, became a ghost town in December. Just ask David Gross, who rents dozens of properties in Rocky Point.
A relief to have it be open because originally there was just so many people crossing over and surrendering. It was a problem, and now just the fact that they solved this issue and people can go down and sit on the beach, it's been a big issue.
The quickest path to Rocky Point at Lukeville was closed December 4th. Border agents redirected to deal with a surge of migrants up to 2,500 a day. But that meant adding hours to the trip to Arizona's closest beach, and most tourists decided to steer clear.
They felt a little uncomfortable, and so most people just chose not to go the longer route. And so a lot of numbers drop, and people which own stuff there are anxious because you don't know how long it's going to last.
Fortunately, December is a fairly slow month for Rocky Point tourism, but still, hotel occupancy rates went from about 25% down to 5%, according to the local Hotel Motel Association. And that's not including the kind of person-to-person rental properties that David runs.
But people have to feel comfortable. They have to go back and forth, have a comfort zone, hop in a car, go to location, have a wonderful time, come back, and have it be convenient.
Some 10,000 Rocky Point residents, or 1/6 of the city's population, works in tourism. A lot of them lost their jobs. David Gross thinks it may take a few more months to get up to full steam. He's thinking somewhere around spring break in March, maybe. In Phoenix, I'm Brian Webb, Fox 10 News.
Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs is welcoming news of the crossings reopening while at the same time criticizing the Biden administration's handling of this situation. She issued a statement that says, in part, quote, "This closure shouldn't have happened in the first place. Arizona's ports of entry are vital to national security and trade, and it's critical the federal government sends more resources to ensure this does not happen again." Other crossings resuming full operations tomorrow include a pedestrian crossing in San Diego and ports of entry in Nogales, Arizona, and Eagle Pass, Texas. That border crossing in Texas is where dozens of GOP lawmakers showed up earlier today. The congressional delegation blaming the White House for the country's surge of migrant arrivals. Congress right now is in the middle of negotiating a White House request for funding to address issues at the border. House Speaker Mike Johnson expressed doubts about supporting any bipartisan compromise reached in the Senate.
The situation here and across the country is truly unconscionable. We would describe it as both heartbreaking and infuriating. Our communities are overrun. We have local resources that are being strapped.
A bipartisan group of senators has been meeting with the Biden administration in the hopes of making progress on a deal before Congress returns to Washington next week. Democrats called today's border visit a political ploy.
It's very nice you go to the border, but the way to get something done is work, as we are in the Senate, on a bipartisan solution to the border crisis.
Republicans have said tougher restrictions on asylum must be a part of any deal that's reached. All right, now we turn to some newly released video that shows a stunning scene inside a Las Vegas courtroom. A defendant being sentenced today for attempted battery jumped over the bench and attacked the judge. It happened after a defense attorney asked for probation, and the judge responded with, "It's time the defendant got a taste of something else." A marshal in the courtroom and that judge were injured in that fight. The condition of the marshal, who was hospitalized, has not been disclosed. The judge did not go to the hospital. That defendant is due back in court on new battery charges tomorrow. Turning now to our weather, and in California, we are getting a lot of snow. But first, we want to show you the scene up in north in Oregon. A series of storms crossing the west. They are piling on the snow tonight. These are live images from Mount Hood, Oregon, where heavy snow is expected to fall throughout the night. A lot of ski resorts in that area welcoming all of these new storms. Now, further south in Southern California, they're getting more snow as well. People in parts of the Sierra have seen more than 10 inches of snow over the last 24 hours or so. And in Southern California, these were the images coming out of Frazier Park, about 70 miles or so north of Los Angeles. And along the coast, we're seeing the return of dangerously high surf. Huge waves crashing ashore all along the California coast today. And despite the warnings about those waves, some swimmers and surfers say they just cannot resist staying out of the water.
High tide, it definitely can be dangerous to stand on the cliff or something like that. But for us, we are experienced risk takers. We take calculated risks, and getting out there is what makes us happy. So we're going to do it no matter what.
And of course, wind also a big factor with these storms. Here's a live look tonight at the Santa Monica Pier in Southern California. Strong wind gusts in this area have kept the flags and the trees blowing throughout most of the day. Some parts of California expected to see gusts up to 65 miles per hour by the time we reach the end of this week. Let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Roberta Gonzalez, who is tracking these storms. And Roberta, we are expecting a lot more snow in the coming days.
Yeah, but you just nailed it. Boy, that was a pretty story you just told. The snow has ended in the Mount Hood area. Still some lingering precipitation around Southern California. Snow is dispersed around the Greater Lake Tahoe area, but there's more to come. We have a series of storms stacked up against the Pacific Northwest, also California, where we've had that high surf advisory in place. It's allowed to expire over Northern California by 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, but all the way into San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara, we have that high surf watch in effect until Monday. So, okay, let's go ahead and show you what's going on over the ocean. It's an active weather pattern. So while Northern California will buy a little bit of a break, we see more precipitation in store for Seattle all the way to Medford, Oregon. And let's see where the rain is falling right now. And you can see the snow went throughout the Siskiyou and the Cascade Mountain Range. Otherwise, we see the precipitation is pushing out of the Portland area and snow in the highest levels. And then meanwhile, around that northwestern quadrant of the state of California, there is still some lingering light precipitation, all associated with this next system that really is not affecting Northern California at this hour because high pressure, albeit on the weak side, is building in. So we're going to continue to track the incoming systems, and we'll do that together, and that's still coming up a little bit later in this newscast, Alex.
All right, we'll see you in a bit. Roberta, thank you. Former President Trump is taking his 2024 election battle to the U.S. Supreme Court. Trump is asking the court to overturn the ruling in Colorado that barred him from the primary ballot, citing his role in the January 6th Capitol insurrection. Trump is asking the justices to reverse the Colorado ruling without even hearing arguments. Trump's team appealed a similar decision in Maine yesterday. Idaho's Attorney General is leading a group of 27 states opposing California's over 30-year-old assault weapons ban. The group says the state's Assault Weapons Control Act, enacted in 1989, violates the Second Amendment. They also say the impact of the ban has extended beyond California's borders. The ban remains in effect as the case makes its way through the federal appeals court. The father of a 10-year-old boy accused of shooting and killing a playmate in Sacramento County appeared in court earlier today. 53-year-old Arkeet Davis pleaded not guilty to felony gun charges. Sheriff's officials say Davis's 10-year-old son got the gun out of his father's car and then shot and killed another 10-year-old, Keith KJ Frierson, on Saturday. Detectives say Davis tried to dispose of that gun after the shooting. The Sacramento Bee reports the victim's family was told today the 10-year-old will not be facing charges in this case. Coming up tonight on West Coast Wrap, Vice President Kamala Harris visits Las Vegas today. Her message for members of the city's culinary union. Plus, a landmark lawsuit against Snapchat can move forward. We'll tell you about the ruling by a Southern California judge and what it means for dozens of families who lost loved ones to fentanyl overdoses. Vice President Kamala Harris showed support for organized labor today with a trip here to the West. She spent the afternoon in Las Vegas speaking with members of a culinary union. That union ratified a new contract with resort casinos back in November after threatening to go on strike.
It is union members and the working people who are members of organized labor who have always fought and continue to fight for the rights, for the dignity of working people and the dignity of work itself.
That union's new contract includes historic pay increases and workplace safety improvements. In a legal victory for over 60 grieving families, a Los Angeles judge has now cleared the way for a lawsuit against social media giant Snapchat to move ahead. Fox 11's Christy Fajardo is in Santa Monica tonight with more on this decision.
This is a defective product. Killing the user is about as defective as a product can be.
Sam Chapman hopes this is the ruling that saves parents from grief like his. He says his son, 16-year-old Sammy, died after buying a fentanyl-laced pill from a dealer he met on Snapchat, a social media platform known for disappearing messages. Now an LA County judge says a product liability lawsuit against the social media giant can go forward.
As soon as parents like us can sue and succeed for the harm that's done to our children online, the platforms will change their behavior and make it safe.
Snapchat has argued it's not responsible for what people do on their platform, insisting it's exempt from product liability lawsuits because it's a service, not a product. But the judge ruled it's not clear what Snapchat is, and discovery or a trial should decide.
I don't hold them responsible for what the drug dealer said to my son or my son said to the drug dealer. I hold them responsible for the fact that they met at all and that that drug dealer was driven to kids at my son's school through their quick ad feature and their snap maps, which tell everybody where every kid is.
In a statement, a Snap spokesperson wrote, "While we are committed to advancing our efforts to stop drug dealers from engaging in illegal activity on Snapchat, we believe the plaintiff's allegations are both legally and factually flawed and will continue to defend that position in court." But Chapman and the more than 60 other families who are suing are hopeful. Snap will now be forced to turn over documents on how their algorithms work and what they knew about the dangers.
They know they're killing children, and they haven't stopped doing it.
And that was Fox 11's Christy Fajardo reporting for us tonight. This is being considered a landmark decision. If it stands, it could affect other social media companies as well, like Meta and TikTok, who are also being sued and laying out similar legal defenses. All right, we turn back now to the weather here in the West, and these storms that are moving across the region are going to hit New Mexico tonight. Here's a live look at conditions in Roswell. The region's first big storm of the year is expected to dump a whole lot of rain. Snow is expected to come for the northern part of New Mexico. Let's get back now to KTVU meteorologist Roberta Gonzalez, who is tracking these stormy conditions.
Yeah, we have a series of storms that are stacking up over the Pacific Ocean. The one yesterday left some snow in Tahoe, also at Mount Hood in the Oregon area, and also a plentiful rainfall. Now this next system is poised in position to it's already bringing some rain showers now to the Pacific Northwest, primarily from Seattle into Portland. Not a big rainmaker, more of a snowmaker because there's so much colder air associated with it. But here's the deal. We do have the snow now around the higher elevations just outside Port Angeles. And we do have the rain showers all the way from Astoria all the way into Salem at this hour, pushing on out the northwestern quadrant of the state of California next to see the rain showers pushing into that area. But the Bay Area will be precipitation free from this system. Next rain event for San Francisco will be very minimal, but it will be on Saturday. That system that hit the Bay Area and Los Angeles yesterday and today, making tracks towards Vegas and also towards Roswell, New Mexico. We were just talking about that. You see the cloud cover gathering around the Albuquerque area and Roswell as well. So as we do have the rain pushing into the Seattle area, we will have some more snowfall around Mount Hood, and then it will accumulate up to about an inch of rain around that northwestern quadrant of the state of California, half an inch in Portland, and just over a half an inch in Seattle, where today's high temperature was 50 degrees. Meanwhile, in San Francisco, an average winter day at 56 with the departure of the rain showers. And in Los Angeles, you had some rain showers filtering all the way into the Inland Empire around the San Bernardino area. Otherwise, you were pretty void of the precipitation once you banged up against the El Cajon Pass and moved over into the Mojave Desert. Here is the forecast. For Seattle, you have more rain. Of course, from Thursday through Saturday, light rain only up to about a quarter of an inch in the San Francisco Bay Area on Saturday, but it does turn colder. We have bright sunshine in Denver leading into the weekend, as we do in Phoenix, plenty of golfing there. And Los Angeles, you're drying out with your temperatures pretty much where they should be for this time of the year, in the low 60s. Make it a good evening.
All right, the storms will keep on coming. Roberta, thank you. An investigation is underway in Utah tonight after a man was found dead inside an airplane engine at the Salt Lake City International Airport. He's been identified as 30-year-old Kyler Effinger. Police say he went through an emergency exit door, walked across the tarmac, and then climbed into the jet's engine. Family members say Effinger did have a history of bipolar disorder, although relatives say he did seem fine over the holidays. His family is hoping their son's story will raise awareness about mental health challenges. Investigators are working tonight to sort out the details of a bizarre case involving a stolen airplane in Nevada. Fox 5's Jacqueline Schultz shows us what was inside that plane when it was finally found.
North Las Vegas police say 4 days in a row a thief burglarized planes, but on day number 4 he succeeded in stealing one, and the thief took off in this plane. Police confirmed the FAA plane registration for a 2020 Kit Fox single-engine plane. This is the plane's short-lived flight path documented on FlightAware. After 30 minutes, shortly after 4 p.m., tracking stops by the California border. Sometime Saturday night, the owner of the plane, who asked to remain anonymous, says they got an urgent series of calls from the Air Force saying a sensor went off and asked if they had just crashed or had a hard landing. This is where the plane was found, in a field just a few miles from the Barstow Airport. Police say San Bernardino deputies confronted 40-year-old Damian Zucaitis, caught him after he took off in the desert. Authorities asked the plane's owner to come to California to move their property, and this is what the owner found inside. Beer cans, beer bottles, a smoked joint on the floor. Authorities did not say where the plane was headed, but the owner says they found a binder with directions on how to land an airport in Corona. The owner says there was so much damage to the plane engine and propeller they had to tow it. Why would someone steal a plane? North Las Vegas police say the motive is unknown and the FAA and TSA are investigating. The day before, the owner of this plane says they told investigators twice they were concerned someone was trying to steal an aircraft. They filed 2 burglary reports last week. The owner found the locks were broken, the plane was untied, a cover was removed, and the master engine turned on. All signs, the burglary victim says someone was trying to move a plane.
Heaven forbid that something could have happened with this pilot that stole the airplane. We all agree that we would like to feel safer, that we would like to have the airport more secure.
Jeff Lustig, an aviation attorney with 2 planes out of North Las Vegas, is one of several pilots who would like to see additional security measures in light of these break-ins and theft.
Promoting more video feeds, more surveillance, having armed security after hours, but safety is a state of mind. And considering everything that's happened, I think that the pilots would greatly benefit from a meeting to discuss these issues.
Jacqueline Schultz, Fox 5 News, local Las Vegas.
The huge waves hitting the West Coast leading to a rare find on a California beach. Why explosives experts were called in to recover it. Also, see how Maui's recovery from those devastating wildfires creates a delicate balancing act for locals and visitors. As recovery efforts continue on Maui, some hard choices are being made about the balance between welcoming back much-needed tourist revenue and protecting the rights of locals. Reporter Tanya J. Powers has more tonight on how local leaders are approaching the island's reopening.
We are here now and we're not going anywhere.
It's a new year, but folks in Hawaii are still struggling with the same problem: how to reopen Maui and bring in much needed tourism revenue without disrupting the recovery process for thousands of locals still struggling with basic issues like housing, employment, and education.
We fought to not open tourism at 2 months because we weren't ready. We still don't have our education, our schools figured out. A lot of our kids are going up to school above the burn zone.
The wildfires that burned through the island back in August killed at least 100 people and destroyed thousands of structures, many in the historic town of Lahaina. Under pressure from business owners, West Maui was reopened to tourism back in November. But just 2 weeks ago, Hawaii's governor admitted there are still plenty of displaced people, and his new budget proposal includes significant funding for housing.
On Maui right now, if we had 3,000 more houses available, we would not be in nearly the dire straits that we are. We wouldn't have to be rushing to convert short-term rentals to long-term rentals.
Ultimately, Hawaii residents say it's a balancing act. They acknowledge their economy relies heavily on tourism, but say more needs to be done to protect locals and keep Hawaiian traditions alive.
It keeps me connected to the land. It keeps me connected to my place in the world.
FEMA says they'll keep supporting the recovery as well, the agency announcing another $4 million in funding last month. In New York, Tanya J. Powers, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
The pier at San Diego's Ocean Beach is seeing sustained damage after the storm that hit over New Year's weekend. The pier right now is closed as the city decides what to do next. Structural engineers are evaluating the public safety risks of the pier's current condition as waves continue to threaten the beams and railings. The city now has to decide pretty soon if it will pay to fix the pier just to keep it open or keep it closed until an entirely new one can be built.
The current damage is more significant than what has occurred in the past, so it's really the city's call as to how much effort they want to go in doing a short-term fix.
We are going to definitely have to replace the pier at some point. It's just going to depend on what it's going to look like and what it's going to cost.
City officials say they've spent about $1.7 million to continuously repair the pier. Finally tonight, those huge waves that have been hitting the West Coast led to the discovery of an old military bomb that washed ashore near Santa Cruz, California. Photos from the sheriff's office there show the bomb that appeared in the dunes near the beach. Bomb squad officials were called in as a precaution. Officials say the bomb wasn't active and was safely removed from the beach. The sheriff's office says that bomb likely washed up during last week's storms. Thanks so much for watching West Coast Wrap tonight. A reminder, you can stay up to date on all the stories we are covering online. All you have to do is head to westcoastwrap.com. And remember, you can stream all of our shows right on your smart TV by downloading the Fox Local app. We'll see you. Have a great night. We'll see you back here tomorrow.